Okay. So when you guys registered, you had an opportunity to submit some questions. So to start the session off, I'm going to just talk about the venue, and then we'll talk about the structure of the competition, give you an overview of the schedule for those that haven't seen it. And I have been made aware that one or two of you haven't seen it yet. So that should be new information for you guys. And then I'll go through the questions that have been submitted. Then we'll have a bit of a general Q&A for anything else that pops up. As I'm talking, please feel free to use the chat function, and Jaden will pick up the questions as we go. Other than that, I will start by saying I'm really excited about the basketball. We have 20 teams registered. Touch wood, we don't get anybody else pulling out. I'm pretty excited. It looks, from my point of view, it looks like a really healthy competition. The schedule that is actually on the game's website is accurate as of now. So just to give you an overview of all 4 days. So Friday the 9th, we have 8:30 start till 2 p.m. That's going to be our divisioning games. So we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly, and I'll get Jaden to jump in on there as well. And then Saturday the 10th is 8:30 start till 4:30. That's going to be our first day of round robin games. Okay. Sunday is into 2, so 8:30 till 3 is the last part of the round robin. And then from 3:30 till 4:15, there's actually a block in the schedule to do a bit of athlete, coach, volunteer fun games. More information will come out when you're at the competition around that. I can see a few people nodding. A few athletes have made contact as well around that, saying, are we going to get an opportunity to play with our coaches? So we've got a few ideas there, but we actually want to work with you guys on that. And we're actually going to judge how we're actually tracking through the competition as well to see if we use that time for that as well. Monday, kind of a big day, 8:30 till 12 is our playoff games. And then our awards are scheduled from 12:15 till 1:30. Okay, so I can see quite a few people scribbling that around. If I just put a link into the chat now, if you click on this link, everybody, that will send you schedule. Please be aware that is subject to change. So we're very aware with COVID and all those fun things we're all aware of. We are getting people withdraw. There's people. Sorry, I think I just froze. Oh, they've gone back. Okay. Yeah, we have had a handful of people withdraw, but right now basketball hasn't been affected. So please keep looking at the schedule. I advise you guys to share that with your coaches if you're not the coach. I know some of you are the managers of the team or managing a wider group within your club. Please share this with your coaches. Is there any questions so far around the schedule? Anything from you, Jaden, around the schedule?
Yep. Good.
Okay, so one of the questions that came through was around the divisioning. So the format for our divisioning is quite simple. We've got 15-minute blocks, as you'll see in the draft schedule that's on the game's website, which we'll put a link to now as well. The question from one of our coaches was, are there 15-minute games? So no, the games are 10 minutes within a 15-minute block. We are looking to offer a 2-minute warm-up and then a couple of minutes buffer for transitions on and off the court. Okay, so hopefully that answers the question there for that club. I'm reading these questions. Do we have rolling substitutions? Yes, we have rolling subs. Okay, quite a simple one. You might be able to jump in on this one, Janan. So this is a question more around logistics of getting to and from the venue. So a lot of you have already booked in for HAPS with Stephen, which is awesome. He did tell me you guys have been awesome with that. A lot of our basketball teams are traveling straight from the peak to the closing ceremony. Will there be time to wash up and get a shower for some of our players? We will come back out to you. There is facilities at the venue. So at the peak, there is facilities. But I'll come back out to you tomorrow once I've spoken to Annika around our preferred option. Okay. Whether it be the peak or an alternative. And I'll also get confirmation around how many showers. I have been there and there is facilities. I just want to make sure I'm giving you guys the right information. So I won't tell you exactly how many there is because I will be guessing. Thank you, Caroline. Can you please return to accommodation at the end of Monday to change? It's rather a preferred option. Yeah, thank you, Caroline. We'll talk to Annika around that. There is already a plan in place, so I just haven't been prepared for that question. So I'll come back out to you tomorrow and fully understand some of the comments that came through around having 8 males in the basketball team going straight from basketball to the closing ceremony and then on to the disco, etc. For basketballers on Friday night, they have HAPS in the afternoon, and our bus to St. Peter's boarding school leaves there at 6:15. The question is, will we be getting dinner at the HAPS venue or our dinner available when we get back to St. Peter's? I will come out to you tomorrow, Tracy, with the answer to that. I think I know the answer, but I'll look at it specifically for your club. Okay, so I will send you some information again tomorrow once I've spoken to Annika. So everybody that is booked in for HAPS, if you're attending an evening session, your dinner will be at Claudelands. Okay? So just with the timing of the example you've shared here, I do need to double check with Annika. The club will have received that information already, but I'm not sure if that's come out and filtered through to you. I'm guessing it hasn't. So let me come back to you tomorrow, Tracy, on that. Okay, we did have a question around shot clock. Apologies, I'm jumping from logistics back into the sport, but this is just the order in which the questions were submitted. We will be playing a rolling clock. Okay, so the TDs told me to pass that information on. Rolling clock, and from a starting point of view, we'll all be starting at the same time. Okay. So I kind of jumped ahead and went straight into the questions, but for those that haven't been to the peak before, the venue's awesome. It's attached to Rotatuna High School. It's 4 courts. Each court is divided. They've got a net in between each court. That was a question that came up from a coach. So, yep, we are dividing the courts. Scoring is all electronic. We have been supported by Waikato Basketball, and they're providing all our referees and a referees manager as well as both TDs. They're supplying all match balls. We will have a small amount of warm-up balls available. We do recommend you bring your own if you can. Some clubs have reached out and asked if they have access to ball pumps, etc. If you do bring balls that are flat, we can pump them up for you. Okay, so don't let that put you off. You guys are pretty organized. I've had about 4 coaches. I can see you all putting thumbs up and smiling. I've had about 4 coaches today ask that question, actually. So, yep, don't worry about that. We can pump them up. For those that can't bring balls with them, don't panic. We will have some, but it'll be first in, first served. I'm pretty confident we'll have enough for everybody, but if you can, bring your own. Anything else from your end, Shannon? Anything we missed out? Any more questions, Kylie, that have come through? No? Okay. I'll just check the chat. We have had a couple come through. How do you book into HAPS? Can't see it on the website anywhere. So clubs have been booking in directly with Stephen, Carolyn. I can come back to you tomorrow around what your club have booked in. As far as I'm aware, all clubs have made contact. You can email HAPS at Special Olympics. Jaden's going to put the link into the chat now. So if you send an email to this address that Jaden's putting in the chat now, and just booking a time. As far as I'm aware, as of this morning, there's still some options on the Monday. Most clubs that are local are taking up the opportunity to do Thursday. Okay, will there be time? Sorry, Dan, I'll just read your question. Will there be timeouts? At the last Nationals, you couldn't use a timeout in the final 2 minutes of a game. As far as I'm aware, Dan, it's exactly the same. So the rules we are using, the 2020 version, and in regards to changes made from the previous, there's no big changes. It's all typos, spellings, and interpretations of rules that already exist. So for you guys that have been involved quite a while, there's no change. So yep, timeout's exactly the same. One thing I would say is any questions you do have, please bring to the coaches meeting, which will be day one, obviously, and there'll be 2 TDs, Jaden, and hopefully myself on hand, and we will answer them. I'm actually receiving quite a few direct messages as well around the HAPS. So those clubs that are messaging me privately, my recommendation is to email Stephen on the address Jaden's just put in the chat. So HAPS at specialolympics.org.nz, and he'll be able to tell you, one, what the rest of your club are doing, and he'll also be able to tell you what gaps are free at the moment as well. So the idea of booking clubs in is to avoid you guys turning up and you're waiting hours and hours. In saying that, at Claudelands, just a bit of a plug for our Athletes Village. So there's quite a bit going on at Claudelands. We've actually got 3 sports being based here. So we've got bocce, indoor bowls, and football. So there will be some of your other club members around Claudelands. And we've also got the Athletes Village. So the Athletes Village is going to be live. And we're hoping when clubs book in for HAPS, they'll make that time available for their athletes to go and have a look around the village and get involved there as well. Okay. So just again, HAPS at specialolympics.org.nz if you do need to book in. And I've got 3 or 4 clubs that have messaged me privately here. So yeah, I highly recommend you do that as soon as you can. Is there a place to get coffee at the Peak? Awesome question. So long story short, there is no cafe or anything at the Peak, but round the corner there is a Countdown. I believe there is a cafe in there, and there's also a Wild Bean cafe not too far away for those that are addicted like me to Wild Bean cafes around New Zealand. So there's also a couple of coffee shops around there. So within probably 1 kilometre.
Archie's.
Archie's is Road of Tuna, eh?
No, there's one just down the road.
Awesome. Okay.
You'll drive past it.
I'll make sure we add that into the coaches briefing, because the last thing we want is you guys turning up grumpy and having a crack at us because you haven't had your caffeine. Okay. I love how that was a question. All right. So that's all the questions I've got in front of me that have come through. Jaden, have you got anything?
No, just like a quick introduction, obviously. So, Jaden, I'm the venue manager. So, anything to do with the venue, sort of health and safety, to If there's something wrong with the venue, i.e. you've seen a toilet flood that I haven't been aware of, please come to me for those inquiries. Anything sort of technical, we're sort of directing to that to the guys at Waikato Basketball. They're a lot more experienced than me, so we're going to use their knowledge for the game that we all love.
Awesome. Waikato Basketball have told me as well, the referees they're sending are what they would class as some of their top referees. Again, I'm not a basketball coach myself, but I was told to make that clear to coaches that the referees are very experienced. There will be one or two development referees. As with any competition we encourage that. But they've made it quite clear that the more experienced referees will be leading, especially in that playoff space. So on that, I'm going to just kind of open the forum up a little bit and ask if there's any questions. And between us, we can turn it into a bit of a discussion. Any burning questions from anyone? And it can be sport, logistics. I know there's quite a bit of talk around the HAPs right now. So anything concerning you guys at the minute? Okay. One question that did come up was, is Wi-Fi available? So Wi-Fi, yes, as far as I'm aware, we have Wi-Fi. Buses will be, I'm just trying to cover some of the stuff that's come out in the other webinars. Buses will be dropping off and picking up directly outside the venue. So for people that were at Wellington, Dunedin, and there was walking involved, you are literally getting dropped off 5 meters from the front door and then getting back on the bus 5 meters from the front door. So hopefully that helps any anxiety about having to walk a couple of kilometers, because I know a few people did last time. Lunches has been a question that comes up. Obviously, we're going to have lots of hungry people, yourselves included, volunteers. Lunch will be delivered every day at 10:30. So Jaden will be working with a wider volunteer team to make sure when lunch arrives, we will make sure it goes to your team manager. Okay, and we've got all those details. From a sports perspective, programming, Stacey will be doing the programming and it will be going out electronically. It'll be going on the website, and we will make a copy available, a hard copy. One copy will be laminated and put up on the wall at the peak. We won't be printing out hard copies for every single coach and every single club. So our recommendation is to download the program if you can. Okay, sorry, there's a question coming through. Will the reffing be adjusted for ability in the lower grades, etc., or will they all be reffed at a grade level for all grades? The refereeing is going to be consistent. So what I've said to Waikato Basketball is, one, I've tested their understanding around our athletes. They're very aware. They're involved with quite a lot of our athletes already. A lot of our referees have got experience with Special Olympics programs. Our TDs understand who we are as well. They're really big on consistency. Obviously, if you put your coaching hat on, you're always, I put coaches in one box, referees in another box. There's always differences. We always try and push the barriers as coaches with referees. One thing I can tell you is, from a Sons perspective, we're pushing the consistency. Okay, so the way you get reffed but on court 1, game 1 should be very similar to how you get reffed game 3 on court 3. Okay, so in regards to changing the way they're going to ref for different abilities, I'd say focus more on the consistency. They're going to abide by the rules, and they're going to obviously try and be as fair as they can. So I don't think there's going to be too much difference. Okay. Just checking if there's any. Is there any other questions? Feel free, if you don't want to put them into chat, mute yourselves. Are we allowed to have a bit of fun and dress up, etc.? absolutely, you can, but please remember, we, you know, when we're on the court, we've got uniforms, all that type of stuff. That is policed pretty heavily. And just in line with our accreditation to SOI and SOAP, branding wise, we have to abide by all the usual branding and whatever. But absolutely, I've already had a few bocce coaches telling me, you know, there's hair getting dyed and all sorts of stuff happening. So look, absolutely go for it. Yep, thank you, Jaden. So as Jaden put in the chat there, lunch is provided, but we really recommend you guys are planned with your snacks. I know some of your guys will need extra morning tea, snacks, fruit, all that type of stuff. When you're not actually playing on the court, there is room outside to go sit as a team. There's some permanent benches that are linked to the back end of the school. They're good to go. There's also going to be an area where coaches might want to go for a walk on a field. You know, there's lots of open space. We have all that space. So I'm guessing if it was me and I'm coaching, once my guys are done, I'd go find some quiet space, and that's when I'd be doing my snacks and all that other stuff you guys have mentioned. Anything else from you guys as coaches around food? Okay, where will families, supporters be able to view the games? Good question. So at the peak, there is only one on court one. There is some seating. The guys next to me might be able to tell me roughly how many. 100? Yeah. So the seating for court one, there's around 200 seats. That's like a permanent grandstand, like built in. And then all the other courts, there's going to be some seating on both sides of the court. So one at the, behind both ends of the court, sorry. Okay, so it's not going to be hundreds of seats, but there will be some. And that'll be a part of Jaden's job to make sure, you know, people that are wanting to watch on the other courts can actually move around safely. Again, it's not heaps and heaps, but there is definitely going to be some seating at both ends. If it is pouring rain, is there an adequate area for us to gather? Yep, absolutely. At the back of the school, there's actually, it's still outdoors, but it is undercover. There's a couple of areas. So thinking if we've got 20 teams, and we've got 4 courts in action, you know, there's still going to be quite a few people knocking around. We've got plenty of room outside, and we also have a marquee that will be there for the lunches. And if it was raining, we'd use that obviously for more than just the lunches. Yeah. For those clubs that are local and you'd like to bring your own marquee, pop-up, shelter, more than happy for you guys to do that. And we can store them there. You won't have to take them away every day. There is a place for us to store them. So that's just an option for you guys if that's something you'd like to do. For anybody that's flying in, maybe reach out to other clubs and see if they've got an extra one you can use. Alternatively, if you can't bring one but would like one, please come to me and I might be able to point you in the right direction. Any other questions from anybody? I'm just checking the chat. I think we've come.
Yeah, bro. Kia ora, it's whānau. Just wanted to know if we're going to put gazebos up, will we be able to put it on the tennis courts or the netball courts here?
The field, Simone, around the back. Our marquee is on the concrete. So we've got the big space at the back is going to be a big marquee. So there is heaps of space already. But for any club that wants a little area to get away, there is a field at the back. Usually the Rotatuna School Teachers Park there. Yep. They've been kicked off for that week. So that is actually going to be available for us. In saying that, you know, you probably won't want to use that if it was raining. We're not using the AstroTurf tennis courts. We're not allowed on there. But there is plenty of room if you do want to bring one.
Kia ora.
Thank you, Simone. Any other questions, guys? Everyone happy? Lots of nodding heads. Awesome. All right. Well, like I said, if there is anything from in the next couple of days, we're fully into game mode now. We're looking to just to finalize some plans. Please keep checking the NSG website. When we do make a change, we will email the coaches directly. So some of you on here might not be on that mailing list. So I do recommend you talk to your coaches, make sure they're jumping on the website. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys later in the week. Thank you, everyone.